It's just another Sharkman podcast.
Hello and welcome to Just Another Sharkman podcast, your chance to plug into all the latest news, movies and events in the Sharkman film franchise. Now listeners, we've got something very, very exciting for you today. Obviously SharkCon's going great and we want to talk about that, but we've talked about that a lot recently, I think. Wouldn't you agree, Ferg?
A lot, yes, Jack, but not too much because there's no such thing. However, today we've dug up some pretty exciting exclusive content for you.
We were just cleaning up the Sharkman head. We thought we'd clear everything out, obviously, after the big smog slug catastrophe. And I got a hold of our old laptop and I found a folder marked Do Not Open. So I opened it and inside there was some audio recordings.
And these audio recordings dated back 8 years ago to when we first decided to start making the podcast. Me, Jack and Will, we saw the first Sharkman film. We were like, this is brilliant. We've got to make a podcast out of this. But then Will started being like, okay, guys, great. But you guys have got to audition. You've got to audition for the podcast. And we were like, Will, we're all just mates. We'd have to audition or anything. We just do it. But he was very insistent that we should audition as if we were like going up against each other. Anyway, we decided to just humour him. I mean, at that point, we were already starting to realise that you shouldn't make Will angry. So we recorded these audition tapes, and what we thought we'd do today, listeners, was play you those tapes. MP3s.
That's right, listeners. We thought we would turn back the clock to 2012 and let you guys in on the beginning of the podcast, when it all came together, when that magic happened. God, I remember it so well, Ferg, don't you?
They are literally some of my earliest remaining memories, Jack.
So what Will made us do was he made us go into a room, into an isolation chamber, he called it. It was actually just my mum's kitchen. And he put a recorder down, he left the room, and he left some questions on a piece of paper.
Yeah, and at the time, afterwards, Will wouldn't allow us to listen to the other person's audition. I never heard Jack's. Jack had never heard mine. But now, Will's not here, so let's go for it. I'm excited.
So without further ado, Ferg, I think we should play the listeners that exclusive content, don't you?
Let's go.
Mum, can you get out of the kitchen? I've got to record for Will. I've got to tell Will why I need to be the co-host on the podcast. Mum, can you go? Mum, go away. Go away. Shut the door.
Hello, is this... Yeah, this is on. Great. Hi, Will. Ferg here.
Okay, so the date is the 8th of March, 2012.
It's the 8th of March, 2012.
I'm in the isolation booth.
I'm in Jack's kitchen.
And I'm here, ready to answer your questions, Will, so I can be the co-host on the podcast that me and Ferg came up with. Okay, I see you've left me a metal box here. Let me just try and open the... Okay, Will, you seem to have sealed this very tightly. Just going to get a knife, get it in there. Yeah. Okay, here we are. Here are the questions. They're laid out on a piece of paper. Just practicing there my podcast voice. You've always got to describe stuff on the podcast, don't you, Will? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to answer these questions one by one. I've got my juice. I've got my brain. And I'm ready, Will, to be your co-host.
I've busted this box open with a claw hammer. Let's go through these questions. Right. Number 1.
Why should you be the co-host of this podcast? Right. Well, I haven't really prepared anything, but I thought what I would do is just kind of go in and start talking like I would on the podcast, because I don't think we would always... Because if we're going to do it every day, like we say we're going to do, I think that we need someone that can talk really fast and just come up with stuff. Well, I think number 1, personally, I'm really fun. I'm really, really fun and nice. And I like Sharkman. And I love talking about it. I don't know lots about it. I think that's the thing that is maybe a drawback. Maybe if you had to say, Jack, what is your weakness? Then I would probably say I don't know loads about Sharkman. Jack, no, stop. Don't talk about your weaknesses. Talk about your strengths. So I think what I can do is I can be a really, really fun, voice on the podcast. I feel like I can bring that everyman feeling of just someone that's new, someone that doesn't know about Sharkman, and someone that just wants to learn about the Sharkman film, and hopefully learn about the more Sharkman films if any more come out, which I've got my fingers really, really crossed for, Will. I've got my fingers really, really crossed for that. I hope you have as well. I think also as a co-host, what I could probably bring, and I haven't really thought about this a lot yet, but I've always sort of thought it would be nice if I was a journalist, or if I was a detective or something like that. I'm really early on this idea, but I think that what I could really do is bring a lot of investigative journalism to the podcast. I could go undercover. I can ask Sharkman Studios, what are they really up to? What are you really up to when you're making that film? I would ask, where did the money come from? That was in the newspapers recently. I saw that a journalist went into Sharkman Studios and said, where did the money come from for the first Sharkman film? How did you get it? And the Sharkman Studios CEO, he said that he just found the money in the woods. And then the reporter came back and they printed that they just found the money in the woods. That's the sort of reporting that I would do. I would go into Sharkman Studios, I'd ask them the question, and then I would say the answer that they said. Anyway, you don't have to take that. Obviously, I'll do whatever you say and what you want. But my idea is that I could be a detective, and also I would just be nice and fun and bright and happy to be around.
Well, first things first, obviously I know everything there is to know about Sharkman 1, the Sharkman film that's come out. I know every detail, I know the words for every scene, I know it all. It has very much consumed my life very quickly, and I feel like, just, if nothing else in terms of my own personal health, if I don't... It's like I've got all this stuff inside me, and if I don't have an outlet to talk about it for an audience of listeners every day, then I think I will. It will grow in me and potentially destroy me. So I think I've got to get that out. And of course, my knowledge of Sharkman is comprehensive, and that's going to help us when we're navigating Sharkman. We're talking about this, we're talking about that. I'm a walking wiki, and you can just extract things from my brain that you need. Well, anything you need when you're like, oh, this thing about Sharkman, I can be there to give it to you or to correct you. Obviously not to correct you, mate, but to help you. And because obviously I did start the official Sharkman, well, not the official, but the unofficial, the fan official, it's unofficial Sharkman wiki online. Obviously, a lot of other wikis have already started from other Sharkman quote-unquote fans, but their wikis were not. They didn't have the structure of their wikis and the tone of voice, and they would have... The problem with their wikis is they would have a page for Sharkman the film and Sharkman the character, and that would be it, as opposed to obviously my wiki. And the reason my wiki is a better wiki, I think, and why we're still in the thick of it, but why I think my wiki will win out as the dominant fan wiki is that it's got articles for everything. There's that scene where Sharkman uses a spoon, and I've got a page for spoons. A spoon is something that was used by Sharkman in Sharkman 1, and so on. Basically, I think the problem with other wikis is that they're a bit patchy, and when I say patchy, I mean patches of the text are black, and patches of it are blue and underlined because they're links. And that's just very inconsistent, I find. Mine, however, is completely consistent. Every single word is blue and underlined because every single word has a page. There's a page for there's a page for and, there's a page for whatsoever. I've managed to put it together in a way that when the phrase Sharkman is used, it links both to the page for Sharkman and also to the pages for Sharkman and the page for hyphens, depending where you click. I think it's this comprehensiveness that I can bring to the podcast and this work ethic. Will, I can and will do anything. I'll be there. I'll edit the podcast. I'll put it all together. I'll do all the research. I've started listening into podcasts because when we were like, we should put a podcast together, I didn't really know what a podcast was. So I've gone and listened to all of them on my iPod Touch, and I feel like a lot of them they're not detail oriented enough. They're not as focused enough. I think a lot of podcasts sort of ebb and flow a bit, whereas I feel like with this podcast, we've got an opportunity for just pure content, for a daily half hour of pure end-to-end content. And I think, obviously, Will, you can bring the personality to it, your winning magnetism, your audible smile. And what I can do is just be the force behind that is selling that and engineering that into prime downloadable content. Because more than anything, I feel like I am Sharkman. No, I'm not Sharkman. I mean, I am Sharkman, the franchise. Well, the single movie that's come out. But I am, I live and breathe Sharkman. Every day I watch a Sharkman film. Obviously, there's only one Sharkman film. What I mean is I watch Sharkman every day, the one film. Sharkman 1, as it is, of course, called. But everything there is to know and feel about Sharkman, which is admittedly not much, because there's only one film and it's not very good, I know and feel.
Okay, I'm just going to move on now to question number 2. Why do you like Sharkman?
I think it's because he's a man. That I do like that a lot, actually. Because he could have not been a man, and that wouldn't have interested me as much. Not that, I'm not saying, it's just interesting, and I think it's interesting to explore, what if there was a film with a man in it, and that speaks to me personally. I just think it's more interesting than what a lot of other films are doing. So him being a man, that's a big one. And I guess I just like the sharks, the fact that he throws sharks. I like when he brings his hand up into the air. I like when the shark magically appears in his hand. I like when he throws the shark. I like when the shark is moving through the air. And I like when the shark makes impact with whatever sort of criminal or rascal or innocent bystander it is that Sharkman is assaulting. And I like when the shark either just twats into the side of them and they go down, or when its jaws hit them and it bites into them and it's flailing around because it's not in water and it's dying, but it's just biting and they're screaming. And Sharkman I like his dedication and focus. I like that more often than not at this point, as the shark and the victim are embroiled in their dance of death, shall we say, I like that Sharkman has usually already moved his focus onto another person or item or building or theme at which he is lobbing a shark.
Well, I saw Sharkman 1, I don't know why it was called that, with Ferg, and we came out of the movie theatre and we saw you, and then you were at the pick and mix, and then we went back in and we watched it again. And then we came out, and then me and Ferg had the idea to do a podcast. And I think that really, the reason I like Sharkman is because of the friends I saw it with. I'm going to be honest, I really didn't know what was happening most of the time in that film. And I think that when I see it the second time, that I would understand it. But I still didn't. And I think it's because I'm stupid. I don't think it's because the film made no sense. I think it's because I'm stupid and I'm an idiot. But I like Sharkman because I was with Ferg and with you. I mean, I think Ferg and I have been friends for a while, but obviously you were there as well. And I liked feeling included.
I also like that the films are something that is for me. I feel like they're for me. I feel like I can just sit and watch them and they're for me. And when I'm in that world, I don't think about what's around me. I don't think about the people around me. I just think about the film, and it's a very sort of individual experience that's being sort of beamed into my face. And I just, obviously they are for me and they're mine. And you guys are great. And I look forward to making this podcast with you, Will. But the film is very much, it's kind of my thing. And I know we all saw it simultaneously, but I kind of feel like in terms of I was lent forward slightly closer in my chair, so I sort of if you think about it in terms of the light bouncing off the image and our eyes, I saw the film first, and I feel like I was kind of a fan first, and I brought it to you guys, and like you guys have hopped on the bandwagon, and that's great, and I'm happy to share it with you after the fact, but it is very much mine, and we're making this podcast together, but Sharkman's like my thing. Sharkman's my thing, and like you guys are cool, but Sharkman's my thing, it's mine. And I'm a true fan, and no one else can or ever will be. I think that's why I like it.
These are really good questions, Will. I think they're really getting to the bottom of who should be the co-host. I think they're really important questions, and I just want to thank you for them. And let's just go right into question 3. I hope it's another exciting question about Sharkman and about the podcast and about us working together. Oh, okay, it's in a different font. It's like very large, and it's double underlined, and you circled it in pen as well.
If something were to happen involving me and the authorities, can I count on you to keep your mouth shut? I mean, I guess it depends what you mean by authorities. If by authorities you mean, the sort of the governmental, the sort of, the false gods that most people refer to as quote unquote authorities, then, yes, I'd probably want to help you out. But if you mean what I would think of as the true authority that I, and soon I suspect all will have to bow to, that is Sharkman Studios and their wonderful CEO who have made this fantastic film, then I'm afraid in any situation like that, I'm going to have to defer to them. Nothing personal, but... Yes.
Depending on... Probably... yes, probably depending on what it is... No, I would probably... No, not depending on what it is. I obviously, I really want to be on the podcast, so, like, anything you tell me not to tell the police about, I won't do that. Even if even if it was bad, even if you like stole something, or even if you filmed a Sharkman film in the cinema or something like that, like I wouldn't mind. I honestly wouldn't mind. I wouldn't tell anyone. In fact, I would actually tell the police I did it sometimes. I actually, if you stole some crisps or something, I would say no, I stole the crisps, because being on the podcast would just be such an honor. I think it would be just really exciting and special. And so obviously I would do anything. Okay, and there's a little arrow here, and you've done in pen. You've done a little arrow, and you've written next to it. I'm just trying to read this. Are you willing to be part of a plan far, far bigger than yourself? Yeah, of course I am. That's what the podcast is, isn't it? It's a collaboration. It's like a plan bigger than myself, because I'm going to be collaborating with you, Will. And you'll obviously bring all the cool Sharkman stuff, and I'll bring the fun, as I was saying earlier. Of course, I'm very ready to be part of a plan that is bigger than me. Bigger than me and unknowable.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's all life is, really, isn't it? Life is just the whims of those above us, and I'm happy to serve those whims. You can rail against them fruitlessly, or you can serve. I'm a servant. I'm a servant, and I will serve whether there are plans or not. I will serve. So yes, if there's plans, I'll be part of it. If there's no plans and it's just utter chaos, utter barbarism, I'll be part of that as well.
Right, moving on to question number 4. What are the weaknesses of the other candidate? Oh. Are you talking about Ferg? Well, he's my best friend, so I don't really have anything to. I don't think he has any weaknesses. He's my best friend. I don't think he has any at all.
Jack's problem is that he lacks ambition. I think he lacks the vision. I think he lacks the drive. I think he lacks the ruthlessness needed to get ahead in an industry like movie fan podcasting. I think, like I say, I think Jack's lazy. I think he's inefficient. I think he is sentimental. I think he can't see the bigger picture on things. I think he also isn't detail oriented enough. I think he has some weird habits that I don't like. His incessant apple juice drinking among them. I always just find him, just when I'm in a room with him, I'm just pissed off. Something about him just pisses me off. Just annoying. Not like high key, but like just a bit annoying. I think Jack can be quite stupid. I think he can fail to grasp quite obvious concepts. I don't think he's very technically gifted. I don't think he'll be useful in terms of editing or producing or distribution. I don't think he's got the nerve to network properly. I think if we're at events and we want to be, schmoozing within the what I assume is going to be a blossoming Sharkman movie fan podcast community in which we will have to hustle in order to reign supreme, I think he's quite naturally quite shy and kind of holds back. I don't think he's going to really go at people and really sort of get in there in the way that, say, I or you would, Will. I don't like his hair. I think his hair's bad. I think both in terms of what it naturally is and what he chooses to do with it. I don't like his hair. I don't like his dress sense. I think he dresses badly. There's something off-putting about his whole vibe, and I think his dress sense and his hair were a big part of that.
Right, and moving on to question 5. But seriously, what are the weaknesses of the other candidate? I guess he's my best friend. I don't really want to say anything bad about him. But if it's gonna, as long as you promise not to show it to him, I suppose, and if it's gonna help my application, I think that Ferg can be a bit. I think Ferg can be a bit over empathetic sometimes. I think he can feel too much, and I think he can be overly, kind of overly kind to me sometimes.
He is just a moron, isn't he? He's just stupid. He's just, and I'm not saying that makes him a bad person. No, I am saying that. I think he's a coward. And I think that ultimately is the greatest sin there is. And again, the apple juice. He drinks a lot of apple juice, and it's just stop. Just stop, mate.
Okay, just being efficient now, working down the sheet. Just below, you've written question number 6. You've just written,
I love Sharkman. To which my answer would be, I like Sharkman.
Me too. I also love Sharkman. I think that's why we meet. Sorry, I get nervous in these interviews, but I don't really have anything to say to that apart from yes, I agree. And then I'm just looking down. There's some sort of coffee stains, bit of food stains, but you've bullet pointed them, so I don't know what that means. Yes, I suppose. Yes, no. I'll just hedge my bets. I'll say yes for the coffee. No for the little bit of tomato.
I see what you're doing here. I see what you're saying here. Yeah. Well, I guess what I think about this is I think, yes, we do have to be willing to take the podcast to new places. And I think we have to be willing to be adventurous, formally, and to not hold back. If we can get one of the actors, say, from Sharkman, and we're interviewing one of those actors from Sharkman 1, the only Sharkman film that exists, that I've seen many times. I think if we've got them on, I think we need to explore every avenue. In the same way here, you've explored every avenue of what can I put on a piece of paper, writing, but also coffee stains and tomato stains. I think similarly, we should be interrogating every aspect of the details of anyone we're talking to or anything we're talking about. If we're talking to someone, where do they live? Who are they? How can we keep in touch with them? What's their routine? These are things you want to be asking. Again, I think what people are going to want, what listeners are going to want, what fans want. And if we are making this podcast for the fans, like us, as fans, What they want is details, what they want is lists, and what they want is for us to go that extra mile and think out of the box. The box being like what is normal and respectable to do on a podcast.
Next question. Question number 8. There's just letters. A, S, J, K, H, D, A, J, K, A, D, H, F, K. It just looks like you've sort of mashed a few keys. But like people make mistakes, you know, and I'm sure I'll make mistakes, and I think a big part of working together, collaborating on the podcast, you know, is going to be you and me just chilling out and tip-exing stuff if it goes wrong, you know, and just like acknowledging that typos happen.
Number 8, you've just written Astrodagchikov, and I couldn't agree more. I think Astrodagchikov was a great character in the film, and I'd love to see more of them. Okay, next up it says, so to demonstrate your podcasting prowess, record a mock intro for the podcast. Okay, podcasting. Hello, welcome. Hello, welcome to the... Hi, hello. Hi there. Welcome to Sharkman. Welcome to the podcast where we talk about your favourite movie. Welcome. Remember that scene where Sharkman picks up the shark and he throws it. Welcome to the podcast. Remember the end? Remember the theme tune? Da, 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 da. Welcome to the podcast. You might have to write something, Will. I'm not quite finding it. I'm nearly there, but I'm not finding it.
Hello and welcome to the Sharkman Show with me, Jack, and my friend, it's Will. Welcome. Today we're going to be talking about our favourite films, Mission Impossibles. No, it's Sharkman. No, sorry. Sorry, I'm really nervous. Next, there's just like some sort of droplets on the page. I'm just gonna taste. Yep, tears. I guess they're tears on the page. Do you want me to cry too? I'm quite good at crying just on demand. I just think about my mum's just met this guy called Chris, and I just think about him, and then I just cry very quickly. So let me just do that. There we go. So I've just added my tears, Will, to your tears on the page.
I can only assume this is spit, so I'll also just... There you go. Have I signed a pact? Was that a pact?
Next, it just says, would you do anything for me, Jack?
I mean, within reason, you know. I wouldn't... If it was something, you know, ridiculous or crazy or drastic, like not watch Sharkman every day, then obviously I wouldn't do that.
Yes, I would do anything for you, Will. I think we've covered that before. If you stole those crisps, I would be fessing up. If you got a meal deal and took it into the cinema, again, I would take that meal deal. If the usher came over, I would take that meal deal and pretend it was my meal deal. And then you've written, would you do anything for me again? So I think yes.
No.
Yes, I'd just like to say yes again. Right, that seems like that's the end of the quiz, interview, interrogation by paper, I suppose. Oh no, wait. There's one more question over the page.
Oh, hang on. Sorry, yeah. There's another question on the back.
What does this mean?
Right. Okay. I don't quite get this.
I don't know. I don't know what this means. You've just written in blood. When the time comes...
Are you ready?
To don the mantle...
Of dark squid?
I don't know what that means. But should the time come...
I mean, should the time come...
Of course I will.
Of course I will. Of course.
What's a mantle?
This has been Just Another Sharkman podcast, starring Jack Bradfield as Jack and Fergus Macdonald as Fergus. Music and editing by Fergus Macdonald. Artwork by Niamh Simpson. Tune in again for more Sharkman news tomorrow. And the day after that. And the day after that. And the day after that.